Hi guys, today I thought I would just slap a messy bun on my head and finally just get on with this story. Okay, so I got my rhinoplasty done a few weeks ago and I just feel like it would be literally wrong for me to not share my story because boy is it a good one. This story is going to be from arrival to hospital to the time that I left the hospital. I kind of wish I heard something like this before going in to get my rhinoplasty because I feel like I would have gone in a little bit more educated on what questions to ask and just how to deal with certain situations. So I decided to go with Chermside Day Hospital. Just a disclaimer, this isn't to slam the hospital. This is purely my honest experience from my perspective. This is what I experienced. Chermside Day Hospital, please don't sue me if I say something that you don't like in this video. I can probably prove everything that I've said anyways. Okay, moving on. So basically I was under the impression that this hospital, this day surgery hospital, was right next to like a bigger facility, that if anything went wrong, well then like I could quickly get the help that I needed if there was an implication. So the day of surgery, I'm driving with my mum. I wake up at 5 AM. I barely slept the night before, but I kind of did. I was like chill. I was like, I'm ready, like today's the day, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm giving my mom directions. We arrived there at probably, I think it's like 8 or 9 AM. I don't know. I've arrived there like 1 hour before my surgery. And my mom says, oh my God, this used to be an office block. This used to be an office building that I used to have to come to for work to pick up medication for my clients. And I was like, okay. And she's like, it's an office building. And I'm like, okay, so it's renovated it. Like, cool. And she's like, I just got a weird vibe. I just got a weird vibe, and I'm like, I'm about to go for surgery. Can you please chill, mother? So we're driving, and as soon as my mom like had that feeling, I was like, nah, I can't like connect to this woman right now. So I'm just not gonna think too much now at this point, because overthinking will just freak me out. And like we park, my mom is like, oh my God, I don't know about this. And I'm like, well, I've already paid. Other people have gotten this surgery, like I've gone onto the surgeons. He's obviously legit. So yeah, we go to the reception and we pay the $3,000 fee, and my mom's first question is, if something goes wrong, if an ambulance has to be called to the closest like public hospital, how long is that going to take? And she says it's probably going to be like a 30-minute wait. I was kind of under the impression that the day hospital was just so much closer to the main hospital, but I guess that's my fault for not looking that up. Mom's like, oh my God, your body will be here for half an hour, oh my God. And I'm like, wow, can you just leave please? Freaking me out. I was like, you know what, I can't. I need to be relaxed. So my mom left. I went into the waiting room. I was waiting there for like, probably 20 minutes. And there was these two older men. So there was a big man and a skinny man. And I don't know what they were there for, and I didn't really want to ask them. But they were really nice to me, and we were all giggling and talking, and then I kind of stopped talking to them, and I played like a game on my phone, talking like they knew each other for years. And then one of the guy goes,
last time I was here, the nurses gave me a hard time.
And he's like, oh yeah, they mess with ya. And I was like, what the heck? Whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and he's like, oh yeah, they're cheeky, those girls. And I was like, oh, maybe they're just like creeps. You know what I mean? I don't know, I just didn't think more about it. About maybe 40-30 minutes before my surgery now, I get called by the nurse. I don't know if she was a nurse, but she's the person who called my name. And then we went and walked into a smaller room. She's kind of like got like a hippie vibe. So let me tell you, I thought this woman was gonna be my protector. Motherfucker tried to kill me.
They tried to fucking kill me!
Please don't sue me. Oh God, I hate this story. She says my name, and then we go into her like little office. Basically, she just asked me all these like generic health questions, like, do you normally have a high blood pressure? Are you anemic? You have to fill out like the whole thing. She took my weight. She took my blood pressure, and then she took me to the waiting bed. Now, the waiting bed is not the bed you come back to, in my experience. So she had me put on my clothes, which is when I went to the bathroom and I took this clip. So I come out, I've got my gown on, and she tells me to sit on the bed. I'm not lying on the bed at this point. And she gives me these socks. And she says, oh, these are some compression socks. You have to wear these during the surgery. This isn't my image, but these are what the socks look like. Keep in mind that there's a little hole at the top at the toes. This will be important later for when I tell the story. But yeah, they basically look the exact same as this. And she gives them to me, and she's like, oh, how about you do the right one and I'll do the left one? And I go, okay. So I do it straight away. So I put the sock on and I bring it up, I stretch it up to over like my knee. I say, oh, that feels really tight. Is that okay? Should I loosen it up? And she goes, nah, it's good. And she's like, oh, how about you just do the other one just like that? And I go, okay. And then I put them on and I'm not really thinking right. I'm like, chill. I trust the nurse. My life is basically in other people's hands. So I'm laying in bed and about 20 minutes passes. The first nurse that I saw, she has blonde hair, so just remember that. That's gonna be like her identifier. So the first nurse that I saw comes into the room. I'm laying on the bed. So another nurse with brown hair comes in and she's like, she's supposed to have this, this, and this, and then they're talking about some nurse stuff that I don't really understand. But like about like other patients in my room. I don't know why. Sorry, that seemed really sassy. I don't mean it like that. And I can see that the brown haired nurse has like a thing over the blonde one, and there's a bit of a hierarchy, and you know, it's weird also for me to just see that. The blonde nurse is like, okay, I'll get onto that right now. So they walk out and I'm like, I feel like I was supposed to have my medication by now. The stuff to make you relax or something. Well, I don't know what it is. I think one of them is to prevent nausea and one is to help you relax before surgery. Yeah. So the blonde nurse now comes in 15 minutes before my surgery and she gives me 2 pills and I pop that shit. During this time, there's just 2 beds in this waiting bedroom and I'm on the right side and then there's another person next to me on the left side, but I don't know what they look like because there's a curtain in the middle of us. I think they're doing something with his eyes. I'm not sure because they sent someone to sleep and then somebody woke up next to me. And I just hear this male nurse explain so clearly to this person next to me, okay, like we're going to put this in you now, you're gonna fall asleep. And when the person woke up next to me, like they did a whole thing next to me while I was waiting, but when the person woke up, I just heard this male nurse's voice saying, everything went all good, like you might be a little bit dozy right now, but, like I'll bring you this, blah blah blah. Just like so sweet. And then he does something and then he comes in to check on me and he just says, hey. And he does something, I can't remember. He put something on my arm. It was like a blood pressure thing. And he's like, oh, how you going? And I was like, I feel like the drug's already like kicking in. I don't know, I feel tired. I barely slept last night. I don't know, I'm like a sensitive person. And he's like, inside or out? And I'm like, both. He's like, me too. And I was like, this man, he's just making everyone feel comfortable. He's making me feel comfortable. We're giggling. Yeah, cool. And now, he's kind of like one of the last nurses I see, so I think like this is the nurse that I'm gonna see when I wake up. Perfect. I have no reason to stress out whatsoever. Anyways, so he leaves and then the anesthesiologist comes in. So nice, so professional, tells me what's gonna happen. I just feel so comfortable and he leaves. And then I'm laying in bed for another 5 minutes and then I just hear, Dr. Andrew Broadhurst has now arrived. I just hear everyone starting to get more busy, like they're preparing for the surgeon to arrive. Things are happening. I can't see everything, right, because there's curtains. And then my doctor comes into the room and before surgery, the very last phone call I had with my surgeon was he explained to me what was going to happen, like I was going to come in an hour before, blah, 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 blah. And right before he saw me before surgery, he was going to go over the things that we spoke about and then do the surgery. He comes in and he goes, so everything we said, yeah? And I just go, yep. So he doesn't go over everything. And at this, I just am so determined to stay chill that I don't even want to speak up. And I was like, I didn't want to say, oh no, like can we go over it? I don't know, I didn't want to feed some sort of feeling that I kind of like started to feel when my mum started getting like paranoid. I was like, yeah, I don't know, I just said it. I don't know, he said he would go through it, he didn't go through it. I'm sorry, I literally know everyone at his office is gonna watch this. This is just my experience once again. I know it's kind of my fault because I said yeah. So I do have like a role to play in that. And then I stand up, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna take some before photos now. He takes the shots of me. While he's taking the photos, he says, oh, so you got the filler out of your under eyes? And I go, yep. And he's like, okay, cool. And then he's really positive, and I'm like, remember that I got the filler dissolved. We spoke like 3 times on the phone. I saw him like twice in real life. I literally asked him every question I could possibly have wanted to ask him. Always just answered my questions, so I just felt comfortable. So he's like, all right, you can sit back down on the bed and then we'll bring you into theater. And I was like, cool. A bit more brief than what I would like. They walked me out of this room and now I'm walking through this like hospital now kind of setting corridor. I walk into this massive theater and it looks really nice, it looks really clean, it looks really professional, and you know what, I just feel safe. So I walk in and this woman looks at me, and I don't know, there's like 7 people in the room, it's like hella busy. I lock eyes with this woman and she looks at me and she smiles, and then I turn my head, and then I'm like, oh my god, she just smiled at me and I forgot to smile back. That's what I was thinking. And then I laid on the bed and Dr. Andrew Broadhurst, he's talking to a female co-worker. I don't know what her job is, I don't know what she is. Maybe she's a nurse, I'm not sure. And then they're talking together and he's sitting in front of his computer at a desk on the side of the room. And I see my images on the computer and I'm like, really quickly go over it a little bit, because he hadn't. I was like, hey Andrew, the image you're using to reference to, is it, so it's the left side? And he goes, yes, yeah, it's the left side, the better side we discussed. And I was like, cool. As soon as I hear that, it just fucking relaxes me that I know like he's looking at the right image. I'm just like, whew, I feel kind of tired. Then I just like start dozing off, and then I open my eyes. It's really hard to breathe. Obviously I've woken up from surgery now, so I'm like I can't breathe. So I like put my hand up and there's something on my face, and I'm like, the only thought I have is breathe, breathe, breathe. So I like take this thing off me, it's the oxygen mask, and I'm like, the nurse goes, whoa, 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 whoa. She takes it off me. I kind of like doze off. Alright, so I'm like really tired and I'm like half awake, half asleep. So then I like doze off and then I wake back up because I've got this pain going all through my legs. And it's so bad and I can barely talk. And the nurse comes and she's got some water. She was like, do you want some water to just like wet your mouth? So I've kind of like woken up and I don't really know what's going on. Like I've got different nurses coming to me. Like I haven't got one consistent nurse, so I don't know who's really taking care of me. And then like I just can't see now out of like my right eye, and then the nurse goes, oh, she's bleeding, like she's bleeding into her eye. And it was because see this little dent, there's like 2 dents on each side. It's because when he went in there, he like, I don't know, he stabbed something through there, and that's how he like broke the nose, I'm pretty sure. So this was like overflowing from the cast and just going into my eyes, and I like couldn't like see, right? So I woke up and I'm like, I feel like I'm thinking straight. If someone gave me an equation, like I could do it in my head, but I wouldn't be able to say it. Like I was thinking normal. She grabs like a little water squirty thing and like some gauze, like, so every time like the blood would go into my eye, she would like come with like a little like wet cloth and like clean it and be really gentle. Like that was great. And then she goes, do you want some water? And I was like, yes. And then she brings me this water with a straw and she's like here, and like she's holding it, and I look up at her and she's looking the other direction, like she's like, and I'm like trying to sip it, and she goes, come on. You know when you just hear that certain tone from someone, you're just like, wow, like I have to rush right now. I like tried to sip it, and then I got like a little bit, like I had that sip of water, and then I don't know, I was like, all right, like my throat is clear, like I can like say what I need to about my legs. Because what it felt like somebody had grabbed a knife and say, these are the heels of my feet. It felt like someone had sliced them. And I was like, my feet, my legs. I was like, I'm in agony. And then one of the nurses laughed at me. And I'm like, my legs? But like, this makes me like emotional almost. So like, I don't know, I just have to, sorry if I'm like seeming a weird way, it's because I don't want to get emotional. Because, you know, you can't move and you're completely vulnerable to how these people choose to take their job seriously. And I was like, I was like, massage, I can't feel my legs. And they laugh at me. 2 nurses, and it's like, oh, she wants a massage, oh, she must be out of it. But I wasn't out of it. I didn't feel out of it at all. And I can tell you now, you know when like you might be drinking with your friends and you're like, oh, well, I'm not out of it, and then later on you're like, I was out of it. Now, like moving forward and looking back, I'm like, I don't know why when I woke up, like, I don't know, I just felt, I don't know, the anesthesiologist must have just given me the right amount, I don't know, but I just felt so coherent. So they basically laugh at me and then they walk away. And my legs are like like I can feel them and then I can't feel them. There's this bigger woman, I don't know what she is, I think she's a nurse. She walks past and I go, excuse me. She looks me straight in the fucking eye. I go, excuse me, and I move my hand. I'm like, hey, and she looks me straight, and then she walks to a table and just writes something down, and I see a nurse go past her. She doesn't even call anyone to come check on me. There's like a blanket on me, but I don't know how far down the blanket is because I can't really feel my legs. And then another nurse comes and I just say, oh, one of the nurses come, the one who wet my eye, and I go, move the blanket and look at my legs. Like, because that's, I can only say so many words, so it has to be like really concise. And then I think I said like, please. I had to put in so much effort because my mouth was so numb to sound clear, and I was like, I can't feel my legs. And so that was like the 6th time I said it, until they started to actually take me seriously. And then they move the blanket, and then they go, apparently my feet were like really like red or purple or something, and it was because the compression socks was just put on too tight, and now it was like cutting off my circulation. But these socks had been on me for like 4 hours at this point. They like can't really take them off. Apparently, like you have to like wait a few days before you can like take them off. So they take off, there's like a hole at the top of the toe, so they take that off a bit, and I say, can you please massage it? And it's obvious that I want them to massage my feet because I can't like feel them. I was like, oh, can you massage my feet? I can't feel them. And she pulls the sock down and she says, she's like, oh, this should help, and then walks off. And I'm thinking, why isn't she massaging my feet? And I'm trying to think of, so I'm thinking in my brain, okay, maybe there's a medical reason why she's not like massaging my legs or my feet.
I just really want to reiterate that I had this feeling that my legs had to be massaged to keep like the blood flowing. Like that's what my body was telling me, that I was going to get a blood clot or something. So I wanted her to like get the blood moving. I don't know. In no way whatsoever was I like high as hell and I just wanted like a luxury moment of like having a massage. Because that's kind of how that's how all the nurses were treating me. Just not taking anything seriously. And actually later on, I ended up seeing them laugh at an old man who was asking for something, and they just laughed at him. Sorry, I'm passionate. That poor old man. Sorry, so basically I was just like, why can't you give me a reason? Why, you know?
All I needed was for her, the nurse, who had the education, to transfer that to me, the patient, so that I could be an informed patient. Anyways, sorry, okay, I just got a bit emotional there. Like 20 minutes passed and I see the nurse with the brown hair. I see her tell the blonde nurse, I see her tell her what happened and to look at my feet. And I hear her being told what happened. They're honestly under the impression that I'm like, have no idea what's going on, and I knew exactly what was going on, and that makes it more disturbing. So I see the nurse being told what happened, and she looks at my feet, and she doesn't even, I'm looking at her, right, and I'm waiting for her to apologize to me, right? I feel like someone has slit the back of my legs, and she doesn't look at me at all, and she doesn't apologize. And before, like, I don't know, you think I'm overreacting, it is actually a part of like the Australian nurses like ethics or code of practice, whatever. It's when you make a mistake, you have to go to the patient and you have to tell them what happened. You have to at least inform them and like apologize in some sort of way to have like transparency to make sure that the patient feels comfortable. I've studied nursing before, so I do know a little bit about it. I know like the bare minimum basically of what nurses are supposed to do, and I find it really disturbing that they felt like they didn't have to do that because they thought that I was on more drugs than what I was. So she doesn't look at me, she doesn't apologize to me, she doesn't inform me, no one even acknowledges it after that. Yeah, I don't trust any of the nurses. So I hear the male nurse then be next to someone else that is waking up, and he goes, oh, like, hello, like your surgery went all good. Things that I never got told, by the way. No one told me that my surgery went the right way. My doctor never came out to tell me that everything went okay. I never saw him till week 3, till after my surgery. I really wish he came out to see me after my surgery, which I just thought he would come out after my surgery at some point, and every single time like, I heard footsteps, like I would look to see if it was him coming out to just tell me everything went okay, because like I'm waking up, I can't breathe, like I can't feel my leg. And then I see the male doctor, and then he comes up to me. Actually, prior to this, sorry, I didn't even mention the blonde nurse before getting told off. An hour prior, she was like, would you like a lemonade? And I said yes, and she just never came back. Anyway, so he comes and he's just so professional, so caring, and I've been looking at him for a lot of this time because he's actually looking after a patient also in front of me, as like well as next to me. I don't know, he's just taking care of everyone, but he's also got his own patients that he's focusing on. And I could see that after he was like literally doing everything he could for his patients, I like couldn't move my neck, so I was having to like look in front of me, and he would like sit down and look at my machine just with concern, with care. I don't know, like he was working up. Wow, I really want this nurse to take care of me. And but he couldn't, because I had this other nurse. She was just really like rough. So I tell her, I don't think I'll be able to walk for a while. And she goes, probably within the next 2 hours, we're gonna get you up, we're gonna get you dressed, and you're gonna walk down. You're going to walk down to the car park and get picked up. Like the leg thing had never happened. And I was like, I won't be able to get up in 2 hours. Like I'm gonna have to stay here longer. And she raises her voice at me and says, well, you can't stay here all day. That's her reply. She doesn't say, okay, love, like take your time. If anything, something to make me feel stronger and to heal quicker would be some support. Anyways, and then a few hours passes, maybe like 2, 3. And she's saying, well, you're gonna have to walk down soon. And I'm like, I can't walk. Do you know how many wheelchairs they have there? Do you know how easy it is to put me on a wheelchair and somebody wheelchair me down? Are you that lazy? I just felt like if I walked down, I would have fell, and I think I honestly would. I felt so weak. I just also want to mention that this nurse did not listen to me once, and the only time they checked my legs was when I said the words, lift the blanket. Like I had to tell them what to do. Like they didn't have the brains to check my legs when I told them that my legs were in agony. I quote. I'm sorry, I'm so mad. I got dressed and then I ended up sitting in another chair. And I waited in this chair for maybe like an hour. I have another nurse I've never met. I have this nurse come, she's like explaining to me all the medication, and she's like saying the full names of the medication. Like, you know, they're like 15 letters, and I'm like, why didn't anyone explain to me what medication to take beforehand? Or like, I don't know. I was just like, this is going in one ear and out the other. Like, and then my mum arrives, and then she explains the medication to her. And then I see, and I was like, he goes, how you going? Like he says like bye to me. Like he doesn't have to, like he's not my nurse. He was like, do you want me to wheelchair you down? And I was like, yes. Dear God, thank the fucking Lord that this nurse, he wheelchaired me down to the car. Yeah, and that was it. And then I went home. Yeah, I just think my whole experience would have honestly been so horrible if it wasn't for this. You know, this one really good nurse who wasn't even my nurse. He just came in and checked on me every now and then. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do the outro when I've stopped crying. Okay, bye. Wow, I cannot believe I cried. This was my first time explaining this story, so maybe that's why. Although this story could have gone for an hour, I left a lot of things out. A lot of good, a lot of bad. The good thing about the surgeon is that he gives you an option on what hospital to go to, so I wouldn't rule out my experience totally associated to my surgeon. I mean, after all, it's not like he hires the nurses that take care of you. So yeah, I just want to mention a few things from what I learned from my experience. My main focus is just educating you guys. I wish I just requested a new nurse to take care of me once I felt like I was being uncared for. I was really focused on just trying to be a good patient, you know, not be too annoying or whatever, but like I think you have the right to feel cared for, even if that means like requesting another nurse. Also, there was a moment where when the blood was running out of my eye, a nurse came and tried to dab it with a tissue, and then when I asked for something to absorb it, she'd only give me tissues, but the tissues had lint in it, and you know how annoying lint is in your eye in real life. You gotta wash it out. You kind of have to cry out or bleed out the lint. It's a really horrible experience. So if there's a nurse giving you tissues, I hope this doesn't happen to you, but ask for gauze. Say, no, I want gauze. It's a really easy sentence because it's hard to speak because your mouth is numb. But yeah, don't be scared to get your surgery. If everything works out with my nose, it was 110% totally worth it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, bye guys.